So, what happened on March 13th, 2013, besides electing a new pope? So we were at full capacity. The plant was running. We were doing 38 megawatts. That's what our design, that's what our contract is with HELCO. And before I get into the details, let me kind of backtrack about the process itself. So we are a geothermal power plant. We are clean and we are green, my perspective. So what we do is we have geothermal wells that are into the geothermal recess that harnesses steam and hot water. We refer to the hot water as brine. So if you can imagine about 3,000 gallons per minute geothermal fluids that are flowing. 2,000 gallons per minute is the brine, and roughly converted 1,000 gallons per minute will be attributed to steam. So the steam and the brine comes up. We use the heat from the steam to generate up to 30 megawatts on the original plant. We use the heat from the brine to generate up to 8 megawatts from the expansion plant that we recently completed. Okay, so if you can picture that, 3,000 gallons a minute, 1,000 gallons per minute of steam that's flowing quite a bit, but that's what's needed to generate the 38 megawatts. Next thing, all of a sudden, we were disconnected from the grid. Okay, there was some fault that occurred that disconnected us from the transmission system. Like every other system at PGV, there is a great deal of redundancy for safety reasons. In this case, on the transmission side, we have 2 lines. And the design criteria behind having the 2 lines is that if you have a problem or if you need to do maintenance on one line, you can still continue generating with the remaining line. In this instance, we got disconnected from both lines. So now, getting back, 3,000 gallons a minute is flowing and there's nowhere to go. Okay? The design of the plant on the steam side is to protect the system running at about 200 psi when the plant is in normal operation. So now you disconnect, you got 200 psi, 1,000 gallons per minute of steam, nowhere to go, it's just going to build up. So what is engineered into the system for overpressure safety response is the system we refer to as emergency steam release facility. So what happens then? We reach a high pressure, we're not generating power out to the grid anymore. We are now keeping the pressure down by going to the atmosphere. That's what folks saw. Whoever saw that, you saw the steam plume from our steam release facility. In addition, because the steam contains hydrogen sulfide, we are required to inject caustic soda, sodium hydroxide, and water. The mixture of sodium hydroxide and water mixed with the H2S, and the result you get SO2, sulfur dioxide, in a lower concentration. So that's what occurred. It was an immediate response, all computer generated. As soon as the pressure went up, the computer saw that, said, oops, we have a high pressure situation, we need to relieve pressure, and that's what happened. We opened up the atmosphere. And at the same time, in responses like this, the key is to eliminate the production. What had happened is automatically the controls started shutting in the production wells. So this is all happening like in succession. You lose generation, pressure immediately rises, the system senses it, sees it, opens up to protect the plant and protect the piping so that we don't get no ruptures. If you're going to the ESRF, it's being abated. If you get a rupture somewhere else, it will be unabated. So it will be a worse condition. So it took us 15 minutes to reduce the pressure, to shut in all the wells, to send our personnel out, to close additional wells just as a backup for anything that might be leaking by. Okay, so in a nutshell, in my observation, I've been there several years, that was one of the best responses that our plant personnel responded to in a situation like that. I don't recall any time for many, many years where we've been at full power and losing both transmission lines. We've gone through the ESRF for very short periods of time, but not at full 38 megawatts. This was maximum flow rate, which the system is designed to handle. You know, so our guys responded. As soon as we tripped offline, it's very easy to notice because the lights go off. So I immediately went over to the control room, and I know Cliff and others were there, and started making notifications. So by compliance, we're required to notify Civil Defense, Department of Health, Air Branch, Department of Land and Natural Resource, Planning Department, and several others. In that time frame, besides those agencies, I did call, I received a call from Bob, so Bob was proactive on that. And I wanted to mention about, even what Senator mentioned about monitoring and H2S and, you know, the system not indicating any readings. I know that one of our guys, Ron, was out there when he took readings at that particular time, at that location, it was 0. But as we went throughout the rest of the area, I mean, we got as high as 25 parts per billion. The monitoring station actually picked up a peak reading of 19 parts per billion and a 5-minute average of 16.7 parts per billion. Okay, that's the HPS. So, and we got calls from Kahana. I got many calls from different parts of the area through our response line, information line. And we basically did our investigation, which is normal, make sure that, you know, try to figure out, you know, why did we trip, what else do we need to do to restore. We checked things out, took us several hours. HELCO was checking on their side too. Took them a little bit of time, just like us, in the same duration that we were doing our checks. Came back, had it all clear, and we started up the plant again. I believe we got back to, you know, we got our first units back online in a couple hours. We were back to full power like midnight or shortly after. And that is what happened on March 13th at PGV. Thank you.